Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Welcome to week 5. So we're moving along in this session, more than halfway through. So this semester is going to be, or this session is going to be closing up, wrapping up very quickly. So at this point you may be experiencing some anxiety or some stress about your progress in the course and in your research. But just hang in there, don't give up. It is challenging. It does take discipline, it does take perseverance, and that's really just one of the attributes of the course, but it's going to teach you how to overcome challenges even in your future courses. So hang in there, fight through it, okay? So we're moving into drafting. So you've done all of your research, you've done your proposal, you've announced or defended or attempted to justify your particular topic and your particular argument and some of the sources that you have accumulated and some of the solutions that you want to advocate for. So what I wanted to do with this is kind of just talk about some things that we want to think about for drafting. It's a very short video. Now again, remember, Dr. Sung is providing you the specific lectures for the course. So absolutely follow exactly what he's instructing you. One thing I want to comment on is that he's introduced the idea of a first-person thesis statement, and that is somewhat that may be somewhat unconventional for you, may be used to third person only, and that's very common. So I wanted to make it aware that I'll give you the opportunity to choose. If you feel more comfortable writing in third person, then go right ahead. That's fine. But if you want to attempt to write in first person, that's fine, but you have to maintain the formality of the actual assignment. So don't drift into a conversational tone. Be aware of your tone. Don't drift into a casual tone. This is a formal assignment, so we need to maintain an academic tone, a serious tone. Not, of course, not overly serious. We're not trying to be overly intellectual or, like we're in some type of ivory tower, but we want to maintain some kind of formality. So if you want to try the first person, maybe on your first draft, that's fine. And I'll maybe make some comments as to how I think that's working for you, as long as you maintain that tone, okay, an academic tone. So we're going to talk a little about drafting, some things that I wanted you to consider. Uh, so one thing in Blackboard, you'll notice right from the beginning for week 5's information is that Dr. Sung is breaking the assignment in half. He kind of contradicts maybe what he gave in the lectures a little bit, and he wants you to, or he wants us to break that first draft into 2 sections, 2 3-page papers that are written in isolation. They're both due for this week, and you can do them all in the same Word document. You just want to make sure that you're working on them as 2 separate assignments in a way. It's no, I don't want to confuse you, but it's 2 separate stages of the first draft assignment. Okay, so what he's encouraging you to do is to skip the introduction and go straight into the body of your essay, of your research paper. So no conclusion, no introduction. We're going to work on those last. You're going to be working on the actual body and argumentation and support of your research assignment. So follow those instructions. It's right in the very beginning of week 5. So make sure you read that clearly and follow that. And as I said, you can use first person or third person. I think since we're skipping the introduction and your thesis statement is usually included in the introduction, you may not have a thesis for this, but we want to be aware of our paragraphing, our topic sentences, okay? Topic sentences can be challenging, so I want to encourage you to go back and read, if necessary, the handbook on topic sentences. I'm going to be posting 2 important resources from Purdue OWL that I want you to review. There'll be links provided for you. Sentence variation, that's going to go over the sentence types, compound, complex, and complex, compound. There's 3 different types, and how to use it, how to have some variation in your sentences. And that's going to actually enable you to be more articulate in what you're attempting to communicate. It's very important to have some flexibility, because if you look at the word articulation, it really means flexibility and expression. If you think of your hand, we have very articulate fingers. They move and they function. The joints and the ligaments and the muscles all work together. We have opposable thumbs. There's lots of articulation in our hands, so much so that even modern robotics can't even really mimic that, can't even imitate that very accurately. I mean, they can get close, but they can't have the same kind of articulation. So I want you to think of that in terms of articulating your ideas. The more flexibility and expression you have, the more articulate you can be. And that's really where you're going to find that, is in sentence variation. How to place those independent and dependent clauses and subject and predicate, and using your subjects and your verb. One other thing too is be careful of active voice, passive voice. Passive voice kind of it kind of muddies the water a bit with the subject and predicate, noun and verb relationship. Active voice makes it very clear and concise. So the action and the subject and the verb are very clearly working together. There's a subject doing an action. You can read that clearly in the sentence. So I would maybe encourage you through the handbook or through Purdue OWL to look up active passive voice. I didn't provide links for that, but maybe I'll do that for that as well. So we have sentence variation, active and passive voice. Then I want you to look at transitions. How to transition from ideas within a paragraph, how to transition from one idea in one paragraph to the next idea in a second paragraph. So that will be available for you to use as a resource. It will be optional, of course, but it will certainly benefit you in developing in your writing. And as I've said from the very beginning, writing is really all development. It's a matter of development. It's a matter of practice. And as Dr. Sung has said, that the more you write, the better you will be. So we have a tendency to try to resist that idea. It's something we cringe almost with the thought of writing extensively, because it takes work, it takes thought, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes discipline. And that's not always easy to develop, but I want to encourage you to embrace the idea of a writing practice. Okay, the writing process is not intended to knock out a paper in one sitting. That's a myth, and I want you to avoid that idea of a draft in a day or an A in a day. It's a myth. I mean, I guess it can happen. If you're up late at night and you have no other options but to write your paper in one night. I mean, I guess that's fine, and that can happen, but it's not the best, and it won't allow you to do your best. What needs to happen is a developmental process of writing and revising, or what you can say composing and refining. That could be another way of looking at it. So avoid or dismiss the myth of completing your assignment in one day or even 2 days. It's going to take, it's a week-long process. This drafting is not going to just happen overnight, and you're not going to improve in just overnight. It has to be something that you're doing continually. Okay, so continue with the journals. I hope to see more depth, more thoughtful responses, more substance to those responses. So that's part of your grade, and that's going to help you build your portfolio in the end as far as reflecting on your progress in the course. So you're going to have to develop that, so you might as well start developing it now rather than waiting until the end and then trying to figure it out, because you want to track your progress as you go through the course. Okay, so let's avoid the one draft myth. You're not going to write this research project in one draft. So for this assignment, I want you to think about your own personal writing process, how you work. Okay, so there's typically 3 stages. There's pre-writing, which can include all of your research, it can include all of your notes, all of that, all of your annotations. But then there's also pre-writing in the sense of developing your ideas of how you want to start. And sometimes it takes just sitting down and kind of with a scratch paper or just a free writing experience just to get yourself started on your paper, just to throw all your ideas down, just to dump it all out onto a screen or onto a piece of physical paper. Just get it out of your head. Don't try to continue to figure it out in your head. Get it on paper. Okay, there needs to be some kind of pre-writing that takes place to help you, okay, to develop your outline structure, your paragraphing structure, how you want to map this out. And sometimes it just takes just writing a draft to start out with no consideration of grammar or structure or anything. Just write it out as your brain is thinking it, okay? And then go back and kind of look for those nuggets of good nuggets of where you can extract and maybe pull into and work on and develop in an actual draft. Okay, so it's up to you, but I'm encouraging you to do some type of pre-writing stage first. Okay, sit down, because I've experienced this, and every student experiences this. You sit down on your computer without any pre-writing, and you'll sit there for an hour, and you might have just one sentence down. And I've done that, and it's frustrating, and it's agonizing. You have a paragraph, and you've been there for 3 hours, and you're wanting to write exactly what you want to say right in that very moment because you just want to get it done. And that's not how it works. You're working against the process. So get something down, draft, compose, write it out. Do some pre-writing first if you have to, okay? Then you go back as you've drafted, as you have your first draft, your rough draft. It's a rough draft. Then you go back and you refine it. You revise it. You tighten up those sentences. You tighten up those ideas. You make things a little more concise and clear, okay? So just please embrace that idea of pre-writing, drafting or composing, however you want to look at it, refining or revising, however you want to look at it. So 3 stages, okay? And go through those stages. If you get writer's block, let me know if you have writer's block. Let me know if you get stuck. The best thing to do to avoid that or to break through that is to go back to pre-writing and just start jotting down ideas, start jotting down, oh, okay, where do I want to go with this idea? How can I develop this more? Pre-writing will usually break up that blockage, okay? So go back to pre-writing if necessary. Go back to brainstorming if necessary. And then go back into your drafting once you have that writer's block, once you've overcome that. So I want you to think of kind of, the potter is kind of an analogy or metaphor throughout the Bible. So I want you to kind of think of the potter and how they, and if you've ever seen a pottery wheel, if you've ever taken a pottery class or a ceramics class, they don't just throw a lump of clay on the wheel and then all of a sudden there's a vase or whatever. It's something that they go through and they work on it and they shape it and they mold it. And the analogy is made of us as the clay and the Lord as the potter. Well, in a way, you're kind of the potter here in this. The lump of clay is the paper. The lump of clay is the ideas that you have. So shape and work and mold that. This is an artistic process in a way. It can be very artistic. So I want to encourage you to be creative and to really, express yourself to the best of your ability with this. And so take your time and be patient. Okay, you're not going to draft your whole research paper completely perfect as you want it to be to get an A. You're not going to get that done in one day or even in one draft. So embrace the process. Okay, so be looking for those links. And again, as usual, please let me know if you have questions. If you get writer's block, please reach out to me and I can remind you of some of these things and maybe point you into a direction of helping you get through that. Okay, all right. So I wish you the best, and I'm confident you all will do well in this first week of drafting. Week 5. So work hard. We're almost done. We're going to be through this very quickly. Okay, so work smart, work efficiently, and do your best. All right. You have a great day. Thank you.